Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the interview with Ajay, who is a kick-butt land investor. This guy is a killer. If you guys liked part 1, you're going to love part 2. So without further ado, let's jump into it. What's your guys' follow-up cadence? Like, let's say you get a lead that comes in, things are looking good. We have all felt this. They fall off the face of the earth. What's your next step in the process?
Yep. Good question. So we have 3 buckets, and I use Pebble for my CRM. We have 3 buckets in Pebble as we're tracking that. So the first one is just what I call qualified. So it's a qualified opportunity where we've spoken with the seller once, we've comped the property, we know what we want to offer them. Okay, so once we're there, it gets in the qualified bucket, and I tell my team, follow up 15 times. We don't do anything until we have 15 touches. If we get to 15 touches and we still haven't spoken with them and we've tried call, text, email, and calls obviously include voicemails. If we've done all that and there's still nothing, we put them in our follow-up bucket. Yep. And so we have both launch control drip set up, and then we also have our follow-up bucket. And so if it's in that bucket, then my acquisitions manager will call twice a week for, I'm forgetting if it's 2 or 4 weeks now. I'm getting my rules jumbled up here, but it's one of those 2. So the thing is we have 20 touches, and if we still haven't heard anything from anyone, we'll put them in what I call a limbo column, where we just follow up once a month. And so it's like the 3rd Friday of every month or something, where we go through. And in December, my acquisitions managers just pulled 3 deals out of limbo.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that stuff pops back up. So December was awesome in terms of what we have in our acquisitions pipe right now. We're still fighting to get some contracts signed and stuff. Verbal acceptances and contracts signed aren't exactly the same thing.
Very different. Yeah. We've all felt that.
Right.
You viewed it and signed now. Why haven't you signed it? Dude, I think
you viewed it 3 times today.
Yeah. I know. We've got a deal like that right now. It's a $900,000 subdivide.
Oh, nice.
They're giving us a verbal. And I'm like, where are we at? We also have another one. It's a $560,000 subdivide.
Nice, man.
If this deal pulls through, this will be our best deal ever. Conservatively, it's 2 to 2.5. Current market price for what's selling right now would be over 3.
Congrats.
We're underwriting it conservatively. We got $760,000 of bank financing for it.
Nice.
And it's the same thing. It's like they've given us a verbal. We found out we did a title report. There's actually 2 other family members on title, which we didn't know about. Verbal is that they're all going to sign. We're still waiting on it. Dude, that's a great follow-up cadence. It's very similar to what we do. I think we're 14 some odd touches, but those 14 touches are all manual. I think far too many land investors, like you said, try to automate. Automation is the worst follow-up process you can have. That's why we have it at the very bottom of our cadence. If we didn't get to 14 manual touches, all right, we'll use some automation. People can sniff out the automation. It removes trust, in my opinion, right?
Agreed.
Okay, so a deal, you're acquiring a deal a week. Let's talk about your bread and butter. Let's talk about the kinds of deals you like. Look, the truth is there's so many different ways to skin this cat in this business. And the more land investors I get around, the more I'm just flabbergasted at all the different opportunities, right? Like I am your classic simpleton. I am your fucking vanilla 5-acre, 40-acre, like just classic land investor. But there's a lot of nuance in between there. So talk about the deals you like doing and the deals you are doing.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And I'll just share a little bit of kind of my history and how I started scaling and then to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So I got kind of my good footing once I had regular business. So after that one big deal I did, I was throwing out mail, and it was a lot of just infill lots in Florida. And they were great. Like I was making $10,000 to $15,000 per deal. It was like 1,200 letters to a deal back when the business was, so much easier than it is now. And like, it was awesome. I was like, wow, I'm sending, you send 2,000 letters, you make 20 grand. This is great. Right. It was a different time. But I started doing those. And then when the housing market starts cooling off in May, June, I just saw the infill, like home builders, spec home builders, they got scared, especially all the big guys. Like I had tons of contracts get pulled like days before closing and all this stuff happening. And I just told myself I didn't want to be dealing with an asset class that was so subject to things I could not control. Okay. And so I was like, okay, we are no longer going to be flipping land that needs a house to have value, basically is what I said. And I started watching some stuff from Land Investor Co. No, have you heard of the Land Pioneer?
I heard he's a real idiot, dude. That guy.
No, but truthfully, we started getting into more rural recreational. And it's been awesome. So what I'm trying to do is kind of like a $15,000 floor. And it's been working really well for us is that 15
an
to
acquisition price or gross profit target?
As a gross profit. So we target stuff, probably exit price between 25 to 125 is kind of the sale there. And so we've got deals just like all throughout there in our pipe and closing right now and stuff. And we'll do a good chunk of this. So right now we're probably going to do, months are weird, right? But somewhere between 20 and 60,000 a month over Q1 is what I would guess, net.
Yeah.
So figuring out, how to get that regular. The goal for this year is to get to 6-figure months pretty consistently. And we're not quite there yet, but we're finally at a place where acquisitions, again, like, man, there's so much noise in what I was doing prior to that conference in Dallas. I finally was able to just like shake out the noise and be like, okay, how do I just pull deals out consistently that are pretty similar in margin? Because I had some deals where I would net, $20K, and then other ones where you make like 4,500, and I'm like, this is annoying because you put the same amount of energy into a deal and like there's all this stuff. And so having kind of that margin, and truthfully, like my team's so lean, I do one $15,000 deal and I still have take home profit for the month if I want. Totally. So that's where we're at right now.
Dude, I've got a video coming out on the channel. It'll be out next week. It's a 2022 recap. I think we sold like 2.8 something million in land, and I'm doing like what we did right, what we did wrong. And when I look at what we did wrong, there's two things that crop up that resonate with what you're saying. First off, I got out of my wheelhouse or my area of expertise. I tried to get cute, buy a couple infill lots. Yes, timing was bad, but also we have a conveyor belt of a process, and to throw something else in it screwed things up. And those have been our worst deals, dude. I've got these 3 infill lots. I hate them. I can't sell them. They're just a real pain in the butt. Of course, timing has something to do with it, but I think just as a principle, you can run pilot tests, and I often do in my business, but that should be strictly a pilot test. And I wasn't clear with how much capital I was allocating. I wasn't clear with what I was looking for. I just kind of threw them into our process and deviated from what is treating me the best, right? Which has been rural recreational. I think too, like what I've been telling everyone is rural recreational is so steady, like in a crappy market, like we're in and kind of heading into, and it could even get worse. I find that there's still people itching for rural recreational land.
Oh yeah. Especially if you'll offer owner financing. For sure.
Yeah. If you offer owner financing, it's a done deal, right? The infill stuff is so tied to new home construction, which in some of the markets we work in, literally new builders just said, pause. We're just pausing this market entirely. That was the end user, right? And so what we've also found is some of like the Joe Schmoes that would buy these infill lots from us, they can't get bank financing anymore, right? These are more premium lots. So I resonate with that. The next thing that I think we did wrong this year is I accepted deals with too little of margin, right? They're already in my pipeline. It's like, it's free money is the way I rationalize it. Dude, every deal causes friction in your process. And it's like, there is an opportunity cost at every single deal we throw in. And so as we move into this year, becoming a little more regimented and really saying like, this is what we accept and nothing lower. And that seems weird to turn deals away, but it was a bit of our demise. I think we did 100 and some odd sales this year, and there was probably 30 of those that we could have just sidestepped. They made up such a small fraction of our
gotcha.
Okay, that's super interesting. So you guys have pivoted rural recreational. It's never too late to reinvent yourself in this business, right? Like that's the beautiful thing. If one strategy isn't working, you can pivot, whether it's an acquisition channel that you're using now, or whether it's just a different subtype you're going after, different exit strategy. Let's talk about you as an owner, as an operator, as a CEO. What's your superpower, right? Like we're not good at everything. And I think if you can quantify what you're good at, that's a huge edge to have that self-awareness. Absolutely. I know you're the visionary type. You're charismatic. You're probably good on the phones as well. But let's talk about what your superpowers are and what your day-to-day looks like.
Yeah, man. So I am really good at putting deals together.
Yeah.
So I look at a problem, and I think I just have this ability to deconstruct what's actually going on, to say, okay, here are the inputs that need to happen. What does the process need to look like for everybody to make money or for people to be happy or whatever? And it really comes in handy when you're looking at a deal. And to your point, like, one, is this worth my time? Okay, if it is, do I self-fund? Do we double close? Do we use a funding partner, right? And just being able to like visualize what that looks like, and then negotiating with your seller accordingly so that the deal works out. And like, I'm going to give another example that is less related to land. So I don't do this a lot, but I found this 17 unit apartment building in my hometown that popped up. Well, it had been on the market for over a year. And so I gave the realtor a call and was like, what's going on? Why is this thing still on the market? And it was like, well, the financials are crap and the sellers are like stubborn and all this stuff. And it was listed for 1.5 million. And so I go back and forth with the guy and I'm like, look, would they owner finance a down payment? And, you know, it was a lot longer than that. But basically what happened with this deal was it was like a somewhat Section 8 property, somewhat not, 2 units or vacant and gutted and this whole thing. And so I get on the phone with him and I'm looking at all this and I'm like, oh my God, no normal investor would want to take this down, you know? And I was like, well, it's a good thing I'm not normal. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, what needs to happen here? I'm like, well, we need to rehab this whole gutted unit. I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna have to hire contractors to do it. Yeah. They want to get rid of the property because they own other properties and they're just done with it, but they want some cash back. So they won't owner finance the entire thing. So I'm like, hey, what if I get bank financing for 70%? You guys offer owner financing on the down payment and I need $70,000 in concessions. Yeah. So basically I asked them to pay me to buy their property. Right. And they agreed to it verbally. So I may be taking down the 17 unit here soon. We should be able to force like $500,000 into appreciation into it in like 9 to 18 months. It's
just like dude, that's awesome.
It'll be fun, man. It's one of those. No, it's in Bloomington, Indiana. It's like where I grew up. So it's about an hour south of Indianapolis for some context, but it's like a random, just like 17 unit apartment that's like in like the outskirts of town. But I know the local market. So I'm like, oh, well, this is a good area that like families want to move to and people want to go to and blah, blah, blah. And so I know I can exit this thing at this price at an 8 cap and blah, blah, blah. And so it's just like a fun, but anyways, I bring that all up to say, man, I just love putting together deals. Yeah. Like if I could just sit around all day and figure out what's the issue, what's the bottleneck, why isn't this deal getting through, if there's a way to make the numbers work, man, I will play with financing. I'll go through Rolodexes. I'll talk through needs and stuff. And like, I just love putting together deals. Very like Sam Zell-esque. Yeah.
Dude, that reminds me of what Clint said at his event in October about like being a deal maker, right? I think that is such a superpower. And that's something I've been trying to train my acquisitions team on. It's a really hard thing, if not almost impossible to teach. You almost need to find someone that already has that innately. And I've really struggled with that. I think it's part of the issues we're having with our acquisition team, right? Is that they can follow the process to a T. They're not deal makers. They don't think outside of the box, right? And that is such a superpower, if not one of the biggest superpowers you could have in this business, right? And really in any other business, especially a real estate focused business. I mean, that is it, man. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can certainly believe that. Just talking to you. Hey, fellow land investor, we're going to do a quick commercial break here, and that is for our Land Investing Accelerator program. Look, if you are looking to scale and grow a 6 and 7 figure business and go and join dozens of other land investors, you're going to want to check out the Land Investing Accelerator program. In fact, you can actually book a 1-hour strategy call with yours truly to learn all the ins and outs of running a land investing business totally for free. And through that process, we'll identify if joining the Land Investing Accelerator program is a good fit for you. This is our group coaching model. This is how we've turned beginners to 7-figure land flippers in just under a few years. We've got dozens of incredible members in there. So if you're looking to grow your land business in 2023, this is the place to be. You guys can book a call with yours truly down below, or you can head over to landinvestor.co to learn more about the LEA program. What about on the flip side? What your kryptonite, if you will? Like what is your, oh my God, I have to do this, or like what is that? We all got a few of those.
Man, it is anything admin related. Like if I have to, oh God, get into a spreadsheet or send an email with a document attached, like it's the most minor things where I'm like, I will spend more time thinking about it than I will just doing the task, right. Which is why it's so valuable that this COO has come in. His name is Ben. He is phenomenal at doing what he does. And he is just, man, he's like the epitome of a COO where he's just like, give me more. Like he's just always ready and asking for more and is like, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing this? Like we're losing money here. Why didn't you ask for more money here? You know, he's like pointing to all these things. I'm like, dude, I just like doing deals. And he's like, no, like we're changing things up, but in like a really healthy way. You know, it's not like he's just like coming over and but man, steamrolling. Thank you.
And that's what you need, right? Like to counterbalance your visionary attitude and your let's make a deal happen at any cost type thing. You need someone who's a little more grounded, right? Like if you're in the cloud, someone's got to be in the trenches.
Exactly.
That's what you need to run this business efficiently, whether it's through a partner or hiring a COO type role. It's what we have in our business. And I often reflect on the fact that like none of this would be possible without that role. And I am not cut out for that role in the slightest. Dude, good for you for knowing this, right? I think far too many people, even if they're seasoned and they've been in this for a while, they play the jack of all trades. They don't know what their strengths are. They don't know what their weaknesses are. That self-awareness pays dividends in this business or any other business. And that's part of what being an entrepreneur is. Like, I think at the core of it, an entrepreneur is resourceful. It's like, you know how to allocate resources. You know how to get things done in a resourceful fashion, and you have self-awareness. I think those are the two components, right? If you look at, and no offense to the W2ers out there, I think a lot of times they lack self-awareness. And so they just kind of stand in line, do what they're told, do what they're expected to do, and never ask questions to themselves or to the world at a broader level. And that is definitely a superpower within itself, just that self-awareness. So let's talk about, hey, you know what? You're starting over again. You got all the knowledge you've generated over the last 2 years or so. What are you doing differently if you had to start over again? Let's say we drop you on a desert island. You've got a laptop, a phone, and you can start this business over again. What's that look like?
Oh, man. Well, so if I had to start, okay, wait, these are two different questions. Hang on. So I want to make sure I clarify before I dive in. Are we giving advice to people who are starting from zero? Or am I running if I could do it over, how would I do it?
You are explaining if you could do it over with the same knowledge that you have now, that you've attained over the years. And by nature of answering that question, you'll also answer what would newer people, what would you advise them to do? But this is going to pertain to you.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I just wanted to clarify because there's two sets of advice I would go down. And I'm honestly just going to share both. But the first one is for myself. I hired way too slow, man. Like I didn't hire anybody. My first hire was a Learn Land Acquisitions VA in June of this year. Now it's 2023 of 2022. And that's just way too long. Yeah. Like I was so slow, man. Like when a visionary is in charge of follow-up's not getting done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When I've got to send emails and contract, like I was just in my own way and I didn't realize it. Right. Because you think you are the best thing for your business. What you don't realize is if you don't hire, you very quickly become a poison to your business.
The thing too about this business is there's such there's so much you can get away with. There's such a margin of safety.
It's true.
That it still looks like things are working. You might
it looks like things are great.
That seems great. What you don't realize is what's possible, though. There's still so much more that can be achieved. But and this is how I lived this for 2 years, where it's like, we're making a couple $100,000. Little did I know, though, that there was so much more to go, and I was the bottleneck.
Yeah.
So hiring, and I think that resonates with actually a lot of land investors.
Oh my gosh.
Partially, it's. I think a lot of people that get into this business are first-time entrepreneurs. I also think that some of it's predicated on just the crappy advice that's given. This is a side hustle. This is passive income, automation.
Yep.
Dude, people don't realize that this is frankly, it's just a business.
It's just a business.
Just sales and marketing, right? You're trying to buy an asset at a discount, and that's a business. Okay, so hiring, what else would go in conjunction with that?
Yeah, hiring, I would say tracking the key activities. So again, we talk about KPIs. That's a question I didn't ask consistently enough. I think I was so enamored by people's marketing. Oh my God, somebody's doing texts and people are getting deals from cold calls and there's this direct mail and do I go blind offer versus neutral letter and here are the pros and cons. And it's like, dude, you just need to make offers and follow up. And if you do that every single day, you will get deals, and it doesn't matter which marketing channel you use, where you market, what type of land it is. Like I would really just drill down on KPIs, man. Yeah. And like that, and not even like tracking the KPIs right away, as much as just being aware of what moves the needle, and that's what we need to do now as business owners when we're not performing the key activities, is identifying, well, what does my team actually need to be working on? Where's the waste and then where's the value add? Yeah. And so if I had known that in the beginning, I just would have pulled so many more deals out. Like, again, I brought in my acquisitions manager and she was just pulling deals out of thin air is what it felt like. I'm like, that's been in the pipe for 3 months. Where'd that come from?
Dude, I think that's on a double-edged sword too with the marketing. Yes, there's so many different acquisition channels in this business. One of the truisms about marketing in any acquisitions channel, though, is part of it comes down to consistency. both showing up that prospect multiple times, but also giving enough of a sample size to fully to let the channel work itself out. I see so many land investors bouncing around from different channels, especially now, like texting is all the rage.
Oh yeah.
We've got some new modules that we put in the program going over texting, but also the hidden costs of texting, right? It's like just to run our texting team, just in terms of payrolls, like $5,000 a month, right? There's a lot that goes into it. And it took us, I would say, 6 months to really have a good grasp on how to do it effectively, but also to let those leads season and to follow up continuously and start extracting value. I tell people, like, when you start, just start with direct mail. Like, it's tried and true. The KPIs are so straightforward in terms of what you can expect and something that you can use as a benchmark. I just don't try to stack on multiple things. I tell people all the time, they're like, I'm just going to throw in like a little bit of cold calling, a little bit of this. No, they all work, but just get good at one, right? Like, and these channels are to some extent skill-based. Like, there is skill to use these channels and to become proficient at them, and you need a large enough sample size to actually get enough reps in, right? That's wise advice. Luckily, I was never plagued by that. I was just too stupid. I just didn't really know that there were other opportunities out there. I was just hanging the blind offer drum. But that's good.
It worked though.
It worked, yeah. And it's still my favorite to this day.
Yeah.
So hiring, sticking with one channel. Anything else you would throw in there?
Yeah, I mean, and this is something I did really well, actually, but I would just encourage people to network. And like, I can't tell you how much value I got out of going to events and getting on calls with other investors and joining whatever free masterminds are out there, and then joining whatever paid masterminds I could afford. Because like, I know with, like, I joined a mastermind and got on a call, and immediately it was like, people are talking through, like, we're sending out 12,000 units a month. And back then I was doing probably 2,500, it was a crazy month. If I sent out 4,000, I was like, dude, like, I'm kind of like a crazy like investor right now. You know what I mean? You like think you're hot stuff. Like, it's so funny. And then you get these guys and girls who are just in these rooms and hitting heavy. It's like, oh yeah, I've got 20 on staff. And I'm like, 20 on staff? Like, I didn't even know there were that many people in land, right? Like, it opens up your eyes to like how big the opportunity is. I mean, it was over 30 million parcels of land. We've got, there's a $44 trillion real estate market or something crazy in the US. There's no reason why we all can't be making tons more money than like the $250,000 that a lot of gurus will convince you that is kind of like the cap in the business.
Dude, for sure. Yeah. It's the 4-minute mile. Like, you see someone else doing it and you think, they're no smarter than I am. I could do the same thing as well.
Right.
And I think nowadays too, it wasn't really like this when I first started, or I lacked the awareness, but I'm pretty sure this is true. Like, there was just less out there. There was less people talking about this. There was less resources. Right. There was way less communities, if really any communities. It was like the Land Academy Facebook and Land Geek Facebook group. And I was like the only ones I really saw out there. And I had no friends in the industry, like zero. Right. And that was part of it. I mean, it's a bit of a long story, but that is part of why I created this. Is I needed to create a way to aggregate, to get people to come into my circle, because I didn't really see, the only group I had joined was Clint's mastermind, which I really enjoyed, but I wanted more. I wanted more people in my circle. And that's been huge. I also ran into like a bit of a fulfillment crisis. I mean, I think one of the things that you do realize about this business is it's incredibly self-serving, and it's incredibly is binary. It's like I said, it's a conveyor belt. You're just buying dirt at a discount, flipping the dirt, put more into it. I didn't really feel like I was adding a lot of good to the world. I didn't know it was going to take this form. But like the little secret is that people may or may not know, like, this has benefited my business more than anything else.
Right.
Just in terms of talking about this with other people has been super valuable. And I was a bit shy too when I first started. Like, I didn't really want to talk to people about this. I also thought maybe I was going to give away secrets, or I was going to create more competition.
Yeah, right.
Such a blue ocean. There's so much opportunity out here. I mean, I have guys in the program that will mail the same county as me right after I've mailed it. I'm like, oh, crap. And yet we still pull deals from it, right? Because there's so many different ways you could do your pricing. You could be hitting a different pocket of the county.
True.
Or again, sometimes it's just timing.
True.
They were just right. They were ready and thinking about it, or they actually read it and received it, where the other persons didn't get ready and received, which is crazy.
Right. Right.
I know we're running up on time here. I do have a call coming up here shortly, but let's talk about words of encouragement, right? There's going to be a couple hundred people that watch this video and say, I want to do what these guys are doing. And the truth is,
Right.
you can do this. Like, there's nothing special about Ajay and I necessarily. Like, yes, we all have our own strengths, but you have strengths too, right? And you have strengths that are applicable to this business. They may look different than ours, but I think everyone can make this work. And I've seen so many different personality types make this business work, and they play to their strengths. And we've got guys in the program that are so analytical, right? Like, they'll send out 6,000 mailers a month and pull 8 deals from it because they're snipers. Wow. And they spend so much time on the market selection. That's not me,
Yeah.
I'm a little more, ready, fire, aim type. But let's talk about words of encouragement, people that are thinking about getting started or have just gotten started but aren't seeing the results. What do you say to these folks?
Yeah, I would say, like, just number one, be willing to suck first off. Like, again, you're just going to be bad at first. Like, you think you're cool and you think you're smart, and like, you're like, nobody is. Like, truthfully, you know, it's all just a matter of experience. But the second part of that is like, man, no disrespect to you, Sumner, but the fact that you and I are sitting here means like this stuff's not rocket science. And I mean that with all the love and respect in the world, brother. But like, you just do the stuff that produces results and you will get the results. Yeah. So just like, be willing to suck, show up, be patient, and do the stuff in and out over and over again, and the results will come. You just like, you have to be okay without instant gratification. You may not see fruit for 3, 6, 9 months before stuff really starts churning. But once it does, pay attention to what's working, start talking to people, get rubbing shoulders with other investors. Like, the money will come. The money will come. Yeah. There's such a latency in this business. It's like the seeds that we plant today from our effort, I pick that stuff up in 3 months, 6 months. Like, it does not come to harvest for a while. And that can really trip people out because there is a real latency. There's not a lot of immediate gratification in this business. But once you get that one deal, the deal that makes all the difference, that builds that momentum, it's like there's no stopping you. You just need to get that escape velocity. You just need to break through the stratosphere. And once you do, you're off to the races, right? True. Okay. What I would love to do at a certain point is maybe we'll revisit this conversation. And to do that, I would love for you to tell us 2023. What's that line in the sand? What does success look like? We have a conversation in December of 2023 and you said, Sumner, we did it. Like, what are those numbers? What are you shooting for this year? Yeah, I would love if my team could get to 6 figures a month. Like, if we were pretty consistently pulling, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 8 deals out pretty consistently at that, $15,000 to $20,000 price point, I would be ecstatic. And then the only like other challenge I really want to dive into with my team is one subdivision this year, which it sounds like your team is working on. Yep. So I've done minor lot splits before where we'll take like a 40 acre and cut it into a 20 and 2 10s. Yep. But I want to do just like, I don't know, a big subdivision with like huge multi 6-figure deal kind of a thing. Yeah. I'm not making it a focus for Q1 just because I'm trying to get the team stabilized in what we're working on now. But if we could get to 6-figure months and I could do a subdivision deal this year, I'd be a super happy camper. Love it, man. Well, good for you for knowing what you want, right? That's the first step. And I would love to revisit this and see where you're at the end of the year. I have full confidence that you'll get there, although you might iterate on the goals as you move along. That definitely happen, right? I have that happen all the time. I think I want something, it comes up. I actually don't want it. We want something different. And we iterate. But always having clarity on what we're shooting for, defining what success actually looks like, I think is paramount. Well, dude, I appreciate the time, man. We ran really long here. Before we hop off, plug your stuff. Where can people find you? Maybe you want to put your land website up so people can go buy some land from you. I know you're on the RE podcast now, which is awesome. Anything that you want to plug, no bars held, throw it out there. Yeah, man. Not a ton of stuff, honestly, just very active on Instagram. So at Investing with Ajay. Besides that, nothing. I honestly don't even have a sales website. Oh, really? But yeah, dude, I don't know. Estimate to the fact that you really don't need one. Yeah, it's true. I mean, you can benefit from one for sure, but we just, truthfully, we sold with realtors for so long. Side tangent. We don't need to get into that. But hit me up on Investing with Ajay. Feel free to slide into my DMs. I'm super active on there. But yeah, no, super pumped to be here today and looking forward to getting to know anybody that listened in on this. For sure. Yeah, definitely reach out to Ajay. The guy will respond to your messages. It's actually how him and I first met. He's slid into my DMs. I'm horribly inactive on Instagram. Don't DM me. I probably won't get back to you. And then we met in person and hit it off. But appreciate you making yourself available for anyone that wants to reach out. Dude, appreciate your time. It's Monday, so we got work to do. Let's get to it, and I'll talk to you soon. Let's get on it. See ya. All right. Thanks, Sumner.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this two-part series with Ajay. The guy is a wealth of information. If you want to get in touch with him, you can see his socials included down below. Go drop him a DM. And if you guys are looking for a free land investing community where you can network with other 6- and 7-figure land investors, click the link down below. Currently, our Discord group is publicly available. It is totally free. It is totally awesome. See you guys inside.